So now that we have a perfect selection, what the heck are we going to do with it? Well, that's what I want to show you next, how you can go about enhancing the colors or adjusting the colors inside your images. So I kept my marching ants, my selection from the previous exercise that you and I had done when we selected the yellow Hummer. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to head up to the Enhance menu, and underneath the Enhance menu you'll find a whole set of auto options like auto smart fix, auto levels, auto contrast, and so on. You might remember some of these from some of the other edit modes here inside Photoshop Elements. Now what I'm going to do though is I'm going to head all the way down to adjust color, and then I'm going to choose a command called replace color. Alright, now you get this very tall dialog box showing up here. And what I'm going to do is, with my cursor, I'm going to click inside my selection here, and you can see that I get sort of this mask or this preview of my selection inside the Replace Color dialog box. And I also have this fuzziness slider, so I'm going to drag him all the way to the right. So something like this, right? So now I have all of the yellows inside my Hummer selected or activated inside this little thumbnail window. Now what we have here down at the bottom is we have 3 sliders, and unfortunately my last slider is getting cut off, my lightness slider, but we have hue, saturation, and of course the lightness there. Now, do you remember the hue slider from an earlier exercise? He's the color wheel, right? So what I can do, quite literally, is I can drag on the hue slider, and that actually changes all of the yellows in my selection now, in my example, to this sort of light green or sort of this lime green, right? And what's neat about this is you can drag all the way to the right to see the colors that you're going to wind up getting, all the way into the blues there, for example. Or I could drag all the way to the left and I could wind up into the oranges and reds and all the rest of it, right? It's pretty cool stuff. I'm going to go back into my blues for just a moment. Now you may notice that some of your colors are not getting replaced, like the darker yellows here. So what I can do is I can hold down the Shift key, and then you'll notice a tiny plus sign appear beside your eyedropper cursor, and I can click in there to add in those areas as well. Now I have all of the yellows getting selected here. So you can certainly mess around with the hue slider here. Maybe I'll wind up down into the oranges, maybe somewhere in here, something like that. And then, do you remember what saturation is? That's the intensity of color, right? So I can increase the intensity of my color if I want, something like this, or I can decrease the intensity of the color. Maybe something like that, right? Well, I'm going to leave mine pretty much near 0, somewhere in there. And then the lightness slider, all that guy does is he's going to, don't forget, increase the amount of white or black inside your color. So you can certainly go ahead and mess around with that guy if you want. I'm going to go ahead and click on OK, though, and I wind up with this result, which looks fantastic. Now, that's one way to go about changing color inside your images based on selections or having something selected inside your image. What about changing the color of an overall photograph? Well, we better take a look at that next.